What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at some cards from the upcoming core set in the OCG Cyberstorm Access. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this product, Cyberstorm Access actually follows up Photon Hypernova in the OCG and does seem to be Cybers themed, in its general design. The Firewall Retrain Link 6 is the cover card. We talked about that in a previous video. If you haven't checked it out, I do think it's a decent card, but I don't think it's anything crazy. It's probably going to appeal more to people that are just into the whole Firewall Dragon thing, versus being like a meta-relevant card. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Everyone's favorite Fallen of Elbaz knockoff or follow-up, however you want to look at it, Visa Starfrost, finally has a fusion monster of his own as well as a support card. So as we move into that next chapter of like the big Yu-Gi-Oh lore story that interconnects throughout sets, let's take a look and see if these cards are any good in today's video. Alright, thank you guys so much for checking out the video, and while you're here, if you could please hit the like button and subscribe, click the bell icon to stay notified. It really does help, and it only takes a second, and if you like the content that I put out and want to see more of it and have more consistent news updates and stuff like that, it definitely gives me the ability to do so at a better level. And if you guys have not seen before and are interested in getting a playmat, custom playmat, sleeves, so on and so forth, check out yourplaymat.com. I have a link in the description down below that will save you 10% using my code, and it goes directly into supporting the channel as well. A lot of people have been using it lately, so I'm really grateful for that. But we're going to go ahead and get into the actual video, talking, of course, about Visa Starfrost. He got a fusion monster that is relatively generic, at least concept-wise. It has a very small pool of targets at the moment, but I do think it's worth looking at. So, the card we're talking about, of course, is Vicious Shroud. It is a level 8 Dark Fairy fusion monster, and it reads as follows. Visa Starfrost and one monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense. Those stats are very specific, and like I said, there is a limited card pool that I will show you guys in a moment, the actual targets it can make. But, must be special summoned by banishing the above cards from your field and or graveyard. If this card is special summon, you can target one other monster on the field, destroy it, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's original attack or defense, whichever is higher. You can only use this effect once per turn. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. Now, it's a 3k beater that's probably going to be stronger when it comes out, so I don't think the battle protection is necessarily going to be groundbreaking, but what is neat about it is it does sort of connect Visa Starfrost a little bit more to those other archetypes, and really what I mean by that is the grouping of targets that this card can use are all sort of interconnected with a few random exceptions, which I think is inherently kind of funny when you just think about like some of the cards that it sort of works with. But it has 5 potential targets that are currently usable for fusion material, and that is Scareclaw Reichart, which is, you know, a decent card in Scareclaws. I know the deck's had some popularity among the players, but hasn't really done much at a competitive level. Tearlament's Rhino Heart, which again is a, staple card, a 3 of for the most part in the best deck in the game. Kashtira Rise Heart, which is, it is not actually out yet here in the OCG, but in the TCG, but it will be soon. And then Infinitrack Drag Shovel, which is very random, and I honestly had to look this card up because I was like, what the hell is this card even talking about? This is a valid target for it, so those of you wanting to build a random Infinitrack Visa Starfrost fusion, I guess, have at it. It's your lucky day. And then, of course, a blast from the past, Wind Up Zen Mains. This, of course, from Photon Shockwave. Very, very significant card back in 2012. Was over $100 and was basically a staple in the format. I don't think it's seeing too much play nowadays, but I suppose if you are playing it in some capacity, you now have an extra use for it once it goes to the graveyard. So Vicious Shroud is neat. The fact that it can be special summoned by banishing the above cards means you don't need polymerization, so it does open up a little bit more in terms of combos you can pull off and things you can do where you don't have to waste a resource. But Visa Starfrost in and of itself does not inherently combo super well with any of these cards specifically listed here, and we're gonna have to wait and see whether or not they give it some more support on the level of your branded fusion or some of the other branded cards where it like made it worth it to play Albaz. I would argue in some ways that Starfrost just as a card on paper might actually be better than Albaz, but there was a lot more synergy to go around, and I just think Albaz had a lot stronger support. So what this does say to me is that it's possible we could get other fusions down the line, and if that is the case, then maybe you get a similar Despia branded thing 2.0 with these new cards and comboing stuff. But right now it's just a neat card that's kind of cute because of its summoning condition, and it is decent removal, but it just doesn't have a wide range of targets at the moment, and I don't know how frequently you're really going to be able to make it. And the other card that was announced that combos sort of directly with this is Kashtira Extra. Now, this is a quick play spell, and it says if a face-up Kashtira Xyz monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, banish one Visa Starfrost from your hand, deck, or field, and if you do, special summon one Vicious Stroud from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. If this card is banished, you can target one of your banished Visa Starfrost, add it to your hand. So what this, right off the bat, the Vicious Stroud does have the fact that he doesn't need to be fusion summoned or anything in order to use his effect. So if you're playing this and also playing Visa Starfrost, and maybe you're even just playing like a, 3-to-1 ratio or something, I don't know, you do have like other options if your Kashtira Xyz get blown up, and then you can bring this out, you can pop something. So I guess it's a bit reactive in that way. And if it's banished, like which Kashtira does a lot of banishing, you can then recoup some of your resources by getting that Visa Starfrost back. I just don't know how good it's really going to be and whether or not it's going to work within the confines of what Kashtira is trying to do. I'm inclined to say it's not, but I've also been wrong before and will likely be wrong again. So I think a lot of this kind of depends on whether or not there are other fusions, whether or not we get other cards that sort of bring those archetypes a bit more closely together, other than just like loosely tying in Starfrost with some of the cards. Like I know a couple of the Tier Elements cards reference it, I know a couple of the Kashtira cards reference it, and so on and so forth. So it's definitely trying to sort of be like that Albaz, but with a different take on it. I just don't think either of these cards are going to advance any strategies to the point of like another level. It's just maybe if you're playing Tier, or maybe if you're playing Kashtira and we're looking at down the road where the ban list changes and you don't have access to as much generic stuff in the deck like the Ishizu cards, then you do have, play the copy of Starfrost. You can make this just by banishing the Rhino Heart and whatever. It's definitely neat, and it's cool to see them kind of continuing with the expansion of this lore. I just don't think either card is really going to move the needle too much right now. I guess we'll have to wait and see, and I'm curious what you guys think, because I say this every time, but I could be overlooking something or not thinking of combos, and as always, I'm trying really hard to keep up with things in the OCG, but maybe they're going to find ways to utilize this that we just aren't, and OCG got a new ban list recently, so there's plenty of stuff on that front that, is worth talking about. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these two new cards. Do you think they're going to be making more support for Visa Starfrost down the line? Like, could there be more fusions? Do you think this is pretty much a one and done? Are they going to do an Xyz next? So on and so forth. Just curious to hear from you guys and kind of see what you think about the new cards and where that's going to lead us into the future. That being said, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.